everybody, and welcome back to the Manga Monday show, brought to you by the Shonen Junkies. My name is Ben, and as always, I'm with my co-host
Edgar.
And welcome back. The Manga Monday show returns with a special in-person episode. What are we talking about today, Edgar?
I think we're talking about One Piece.
What's that, Edgar?
It's too long to explain, but I can do it in 100+ volumes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually, that would be a good video, like having you explain like all of One Piece like in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd rather
Maybe.
do that than read One Piece. Yeah.
What?
I mean, no, just kidding.
No.
But yeah, we're talking about One Piece. For those of you who avidly watch our either YouTube videos or One Piece reviews, it's been a long time.
I'm checking up right now on the last time was.
Since we reviewed the last arc slash saga, which was Water 7. And I was looking
good one
up,
to leave off on a high note.
Yeah.
5 months ago.
I was watching
almost half a year.
I was watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners whenever I started Thriller Bark, and I'm like, and I finished it like a little under a month ago. This arc of Thriller Bark, a little under a month ago, I finished it. So I was like, man, I was like this close to not dropping it, but to putting it on a long hiatus because I just didn't have any motivation.
I think you did put it on a long hiatus.
I guess this counts, but it could have been longer. But there was like one thing that kept me going through this, other than That'll Get Good or I'm about to read the best of the best. Yeah. But honestly, I was just looking forward to figuring out what panel that you hold so dear, because that's something that I was looking forward to. I'm like, what is the panel that inspires Ben to make manga?
Yes. So there is we're talking now about the saga that comes afterwards, Thriller Bark. Yeah. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, especially because I read Thriller Bark a year and a half ago now, 2 years ago maybe. So it is not fresh in my memory. When we do talk about the Summit War arc, I will be rereading that because that is a very special arc, and it has one of my favorite arcs right after Wano. But there is a panel in this saga that I think is, in my opinion, the best panel I've ever seen. And, you know, there are obviously more pretty panels in Vagabond and Vinland Saga, and you can pick your poison in Vagabond and Vinland Saga. But I don't know what it was. For me, yeah, I know my microphone is just filled with hair. But I don't know what it is. A lot of people would just skip that panel and be like, oh, cool. You know, but for me, I saw it. And every time I look at it, I'm like, man, I want to draw something with that much imagery, with that much weight. That just makes you go, oof, you know. So we'll talk about it when we talk about it. You know?
I'm really anxious to figure out what
we'll talk about that towards the end. So if you want to, see that stuff, hang out with us and see what happens later on. You know. But yeah.
Just want to get started from the beginning.
Let's just get started from the beginning.
The Thriller.
Hold on. Let me fix the camera.
All right,
we're back again.
Yeah.
We're back again. Yeah, but no. Sorry, I just need to fix the camera just a little bit so that we're a little bit closer, have a little bit more intimate feel, because that's what the Manga Monday show is for. It's just two dudes talking about anime who love storytelling in all of its forms. And yeah, so if you want a more in-depth review, go watch Totally Not Mark.
Go somewhere else.
There are so many One Piece channels who talk about these awesome One Piece stuff. I have some personal channels that I watch. Maybe I'll put them in the link and description below so that you can support them. Not that they need it, but, you know, it's always good to direct you into that direction. We are more not casual. We are very hardcore otaku fans.
We're smooth brain. You want someone smarter, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
We're not the but I do feel like, but I also feel like we're riding on the line right down the middle.
Yeah.
We're not normies. We're not we don't tend to look past things. And I feel like we really look at stuff beyond what's on the page, like theme, things that go wrong in an arc, even when it's in 10 out of 10, and like what could be setting up, what we really enjoy, like actual things that are drawn on, like shading, texture, the way a panel is like layered out and spread out on the page. But we also like go for the simple things and don't look too in
Yeah.
deep. So I feel like
character arcs, we talk about all that stuff. Like I
Yeah.
said, we are pure storytelling basis. I'm an actor, he's a filmmaker. I draw and write comics, he writes light novels. So we are in our base form storytellers, and
Yeah.
that's why we made this, you know. It's been a while since we've done the Manga Monday show, but that's why we made this, is to be better at storytelling, so that eventually, when we do become comic book writers, light novel writers, I mean, I am an actor and he is a film creator.
Yeah.
We are that right now, but when we eventually become those things, it's much easier for us to understand what works, what doesn't work, and we talk about it on here.
Yeah. We're
But
also
yeah.
learning at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
our taste will get better or worse. Well, who knows? Like, so like,
Yeah.
so reading this is like kind of like a journey, and especially for me, we'll see where I end up at the end of One Piece,
Yeah.
whether I like it or not. Because like,
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Edgar has never read One Piece. This is his first time ever
Yeah.
reading it. I've read all of it. That's why when we do video review formats, it's called the Half Blind One Piece review, because it is half blind. One of us is blind, one of us isn't. You know, so we get to talk about it. We get to talk about it as somebody from a new lens and somebody who has, you know,
2020
has
vision. or
2020
something.
vision, yeah,
If
there
you're
you
going
go.
with this analogy, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but I feel at the very beginning I've been like I was skeptical. You're always taken aback because like, look, man, I don't want to read plus 1,000 chapters. That's just like not in it for me.
Right.
And I gotta say, I've warmed up to it, but I wouldn't. I'm still not there yet. I'm still not. I like this show or I like this series.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to. I really want to read this, but I definitely am still very much looking forward to what makes One Piece great. And arguably, yes, I've seen like a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff.
A lot of people think
Water-
it's Water 7.
Water-
you know,
yeah,
that
which is
the
a-
tippy top.
yeah.
I disagree. I think Water 7 is maybe the fourth best arc in
Yeah.
the series.
and
but yeah.
and then what's the one after that? The arc after Water 7.
Thriller Bark?
No,
one that we're talking
not the
about
saga.
today?
Not the saga. There's Water
Marine-
7. arc.
The Summer War
No,
saga?
no. It's when they go rescue Robin. What's that one called?
Oh, yes.
Enies Lobby.
I know. Enies Lobby.
Enies
yeah,
Lo-
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is Enies
Enies
Lobby.
Lobby, yeah.
I
That
always
one-
forget. I get that mixed up with Impel Down.
It's because they're in
and,
the same arc,
Marine
and it's
Ford.
like literally, it's within 2 days, right? It takes place within
yeah.
2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I just call that arc Water 7, but I know it's a different arc. But yeah.
yeah. But yeah, all that is really great. I've seen what One Piece can do. I rated Enies Lobby, I think like a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10.
I think you did a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
It's just if it's that good, and if there's more to come,
Yeah.
I'm with it. But I feel like I don't know what it is. I'm just like not there yet.
Yeah. Sometimes you can rate something a 10 out of 10, but not like necessarily enjoy it. You know? Yeah.
I mean, at the end of this, I mean, I don't know if it'll be something. I guess I don't know if at the end of the day I'll recommend someone to read it or watch it, or if I'll read it again. So we'll see. I guess that's the difference.
Like I know Spy Family. Spy Family is really, really good, and a lot of people enjoy it. But sometimes the story gets a little bit annoying to me because I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's not going anywhere, and that's just preference, right?
I'm trying to find a good comparison of series that I feel the same on. I don't think there's anything here. Gosh, I'm trying to. Do you have anything like that? Do you have something that you read or watched and you liked, but if someone says, "Should I watch that?" You're like, I mean, I don't need
Umbrella Academy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Umbrella Academy is that for me. Like my mom was like, "You have to watch it. It's so good." And I liked the first season, and I thought the second season was better, and was good even. But I just haven't watched the third season. And if somebody said, "Should I watch Umbrella Academy?" I would go,
I
don't
guess.
know. I
Yeah.
guess.
If you're on
If
a
you got
plane
time,
and
yeah.
there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah, if you got time.
Yeah. Well, you definitely don't have time for One Piece, which is what makes it that much harder
Yeah.
to recommend to anyone in general, even if they
Yeah.
want to read it. But nonetheless, this journey is going to be a really good one. We're almost halfway there. Technically, not really, because even when I get
Not
to chapter
really.
500, I'm not going to be halfway there
Yeah,
because
you're not.
it's almost reaching.
Because it's 1,050.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost going to be 1,100.
Around that
But,
area.
but
yeah.
we're getting there. I feel like maybe when I get to chapter, I don't know, like 600,
Yeah.
I'll be like, once I get here, once I catch up to One Piece, it'll be like that'll be the halfway point, if that makes any sense. Because
Yeah.
like probably when I
Yeah.
catch up to One Piece, it'll be like a 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
it's safe to say. So I feel like 600 will feel more like the halfway point. But yeah, Thriller Bark. Should we just get started?
Let's get started. Give us a nice, good intro for that half-blind One Piece review.
Thriller Bark.
Thriller Bark.
What is this? Spooky Land? I don't know.
Spooky, scary skeleton and
wait.
shivers down your
Why?
spine.
What are these names? Thriller Bark. Thriller. I get. Bark. I was thinking Thriller Park makes more sense.
I think something else is named Park in One Piece. Arlong Park. So he probably just changed it to Bark.
Thriller Bark.
Oda is really good at just taking words and just going smush like Dressrosa. You know,
Yeah.
like that's just like that's what I'm saying.
But a place
you know,
makes. But Thriller Bark. I mean, I don't know. Just the word bark just kind of doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
like-
Water 7 doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
either.
but-
You know,
But it's in the water. Like it's
water.
It's water.
Yeah, but it is like it's a thriller town. It's thriller up in here. You know.
Yeah, but bark
Um,
like completely. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway,
like I
yeah.
really actually like the name Thriller Bark because it actually does remind me of the music video for Thriller. You know, like that style of like zombies and just being
Yeah,
like
that's
all.
it.
You
I wonder.
know,
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the main inspiration. Like, I want to do something for like
Mhm.
this is a spooky time. What's also spooky? Thriller. Hey, Thriller. Thriller Bark. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so this lasted like a whole year of One Piece's lifespan, maybe a year and a half.
In manga.
But yeah, in manga times. So I was just a little bit like, how did he keep that like spooky energy up? Because I wonder if he started it like in October or something. He was like, "Ooh, it's spooky season," and then he was like, "Okay, wait, like,
now it's Christmas.
now it's Christmas.
sudden-
Now it's July, you know."
yeah.
And so I just like,
I'm
how did
over
he keep
this
that up?
spooky season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, this coming into this before I started reading through the bark, I heard it wasn't the best. I heard it was even considered
You heard that
the
from me.
worst. Not you,
You
not
heard that
just
from
you,
me.
not just you.
Because I don't think it's the worst. but-
Alec also said, our friend Alec, who also read One Piece, also said that it's not that good. Even Asal, does he even say
yeah,
like,
Asal, who is our uber mega fan, who we'll bring on when Edgar catches up catches up to the time skip.
He also
you know.
filled in from my place when
Yeah.
when Ben and he reviewed One Piece Film Red. So if you haven't seen
Yeah.
that, go check that out
Yeah.
and see who we're talking about. But well, actually, not see here. I forgot that we
Yeah.
didn't. We were in person. Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh man, we started this like so long ago. But
Mhm.
yeah, even they said that. Look, Thriller Bark. It ain't the best, but you can get over it. But they always said the same
Yeah.
thing. The end of Thriller Bark is really, really good.
It's the best. I'm like, it's one of the best endings to an arc. It just has so many good things in it, and even the final battle, I think, is rather creative in the way that it shows itself.
Mhm.
But let's slowly get there. Once again, we are not going to do a play-by-play review. We are going to talk about sections, what we liked about that sections, key moments that we remember and that we liked. Once again, if you want a play-by-play, go watch Totally Not Mark. Go watch these people. But for a nice little review of One Piece with two dudes who should be your friends, you should be subscribed. If you haven't, go do that. But yeah, we're just going to talk about what we enjoyed. So this basically starts immediately after they're off of Water 7.
Yeah.
And one of the key memories I have of this is the beginning of Thriller Bark or the end of Water 7. I don't quite remember which one these chapters suffice into. But
We're on a new ship.
we're on a new ship.
The Thousand Sunny.
That's what I was thinking. And Oda drew the floor plan plan for it. Let me see if I can
or
find
the blueprints, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
He basically laid out like this is there was like a gym, there's a kitchen, there's a lounge, their bedrooms are bigger. I'm also trying to remember. There's an aquarium, right? There's an aquarium in the boat, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
There's an aquarium in the boat.
What's it called? The Always Sunny?
The Thousand Sunny.
The Thousand Sunny. That's right.
Um,
I watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so that's
Always
why I think-
Sunny in Philadelphia, the boat. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of now that they have a shipwright. Is that what the term's called?
Yeah,
Frankie's
yeah,
a
they have a
shipwright.
shipwright.
Basically, someone who builds stuff. Essentially, a shipwright will repair the ship, build new ships, fix anything. It's
Yeah.
more like a mechanic in the very simplest of terms. A craftsman, and a mechanic. They finally have one. Frankie is the newest member of the Straw Hat crew, and basically he built all this cool stuff. It's really cool. I like it when we get new upgrades. Even though we parted ways sadly from our old friend, the Going Mary.
Yeah.
For-
But he's still here, right?
yeah, technically,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
mini
the
version.
the mini Mary too.
Yeah,
or something
I
like
took
that?
a panel. I
I
took
like
a picture
that.
of that.
I
It was
like
really
that,
cute,
and
really
we're all
fun.
like, yeah, it ended and it was sad, and like some people might be like it undercuts that moment, but like when the mini Mary came up, I was like, oh, it's the
Oh.
mini Mary, and he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, and we took part of that ship and put it in there, and I was like, oh, cool, it's like awesome, that's great.
By the way, anytime I'm looking at my phone, for those of you watching a video, I'm looking. I take pictures
Yeah.
of the panels that I'm reading just to refresh my memory or to say like, oh look, I thought.
Yeah,
this was
we're
cool.
doing this stuff for like research. We're not like on our phone disinterested.
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime
no.
we're looking at our phones, it's for like news segments when we're doing that.
Yeah,
but
this is the panel of the mini Mary.
God, One Piece used to look so clean.
Yeah,
Dude.
this was-
Well, I'll put it up on the screen. But
Yeah.
One Piece used to look so clean, man. Like
yeah, that's one thing
nowadays
I'm not
it's-
looking forward to, man.
It
Ben
gets a little bit messy.
I
Yeah.
opened like chapter panel volume like 100, and I'm like, oh man, that looks. I can't tell what's going on in there. It's like My Hero Academia, but
I mean, like I told, there are a lot of mangakas nowadays who I would tell people and be like, if this was the art style that they had when they originally started, they would not get it in. And I think that counts for Jujutsu Kaisen, and I think that counts for One Piece. But since it is Gege Akatuma, and since it is Oda, like they're like, yeah, do whatever the heck you want.
they're
you
not
know?
as long, but Chainsaw Man and Soul Eater and Fire Force are the series that I'm like, yes. Even though Chainsaw Man's still technically ongoing,
Yeah.
like towards the end of their series, or Chainsaw Man towards the end of part one,
Chainsaw Man is starting to get a little bit more messy, but it fits with the story.
I can
you
still
know.
follow clearly
Yeah.
what's going
No,
on.
no, yeah. That's what I'm
Uh,
saying is like his messy like sketch, and sometimes the lines go off, but that fits with Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
That has always been his style, but now it's more refined.
Yeah,
You know.
and when Soul Eater and Fire Force, since they're technically longer series, they just got like cleaner and better in style, and it never got any messier. I'm like, oh, thank Jesus,
Yeah.
like
the
it's so
the
good.
3 series for me where that happens is Haikyuu. The Haikyuu manga starts like a kind of looking like a generic anime, but it ends in a stylized version. And it's so good. All the new characters that he makes looks very clean. Mob Psycho 1 became an amazing artist, and towards the end of it, we reap the benefits of that. And of course, My Hero Academia, I think, as of right now, well, this isn't true. I said I used to think that he was the best ongoing artist until I read Dan to Dan, and that mangaka
Scoot
is the
forward,
best.
bud. You're kind of
Am I running
vibrating
into it?
vibrating the
Oh no.
the background. That's okay. Yeah, but that's one thing I'm not looking forward to. But
Yeah.
that was one thing that I like immediately praised One Piece for, even though it was a really old like manga, not really old, maybe like in the 90s. But every time I look at old mangas, like, bro, I ain't reading that. It looks blurry,
Yeah.
even though it isn't. But you know what I mean? Like, just doesn't it looks old. Like Seven Deadly Sins is newer than One Piece, but God, it looks old. I hate the style of Seven Deadly Sins. Even though the anime is good for like 2 seasons, I can't read the manga. That's the only reason I haven't picked up the manga.
But sometimes that old style like looks nice, like Monster. I think looks like really cool.
yeah,
you
it just
know?
depends on the style, like, and how cleaned up
Yeah.
it is. But that was one thing I read. One Piece does not
yeah,
look its age.
Literally, it all depends on the penmanship of the mangaka at the
Yeah.
time. Like Berserk, I actually prefer like the old Berserk style
Yeah.
because you can tell it's made from Miura's like beautiful penmanship, and you can tell like it's all pen. Nowadays, it's all digital. because that's what Miura went into.
I mean,
And
they
there's
still
a-
draw
yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
you know, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
and there's a funny story with Miura that apparently when they switched to digital, his editor caught him going pixel by pixel, and he went, "Hey!" He was like, "Stop that!"
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean?
So when he went digital, Miura would get in so close, he was going pixel by pixel. Drawing it like doing it, and his editor was like, "Hey, stop that! What are you doing? You know, like we're on a time crunch. Stop
I
doing
see
it
what you
pixel
mean.
by pixel." You know,
Probably how Murata does it. Like he's like, all right, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
zoom in on this one.
Yeah,
like, little,
exactly.
like,
exactly. But yeah, so One Piece does get a little bit messy, but as of right now, it's still at its cleanest form. I don't
Yeah.
think it gets messy until
Wano.
until the end of Wano. I think until the end of Wano. I just think they're having Oda do too much. He's working on a live action series. He's working on every movie. He's helping the anime, you know. So like
Dude's like George R. R. Martin. He cannot focus on
Yeah.
one thing.
yeah,
he
no kidding.
cannot.
Well,
But
but
at
he,
least
but
he's
he
writing-
does.
but at least-
but he does.
But at least he's writing the main
he's-
series.
He's he's Oda looks. You know that meme where he's like, "I'm you but better."
Yeah.
That's literally Oda. In productivity, Game of Thrones is a completely different story, and it's, in my opinion, it's the modern day Lord of the Rings in how big of scope and how well the story is written. But you know, he doesn't write his stories, and Oda does it every week.
Yeah.
You know, so there
He's
is that
churning out
difference.
content, at
Yeah,
least.
he is. He is, and there are he knows which chapters are the most important because those still have that cleanliness around it.
Oh, okay.
When we see a new place, when we get a major character moment, those are still clean. So that is fantastic.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still hear great things. I'm hearing a lot of hype for
Yeah.
stuff after Wano, so I'm still excited. It's not like it's all downhill.
Oh, it's great.
It's not
great,
like it's
yeah.
downhill like once I get to Wano. But yeah, nonetheless, the quality is still here, and I really enjoy it. But the Thousand Sunny.
yeah,
we're
the
on
Thousand
sorry,
Sunny.
huge tangent we took.
Yeah,
but
it's huge,
the Thousand
huge.
Sunny.
We won't do that for the rest of the time. I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have like this nice little floor plan which tells us all the stuff that's a part of it. There's Frankie has an armory and weapons development room. There's a soldier dock system. There's there's
There's
energy
a mini,
room.
yeah. There's a mini ship, like there's like mini
Yeah.
submarine / ships.
Yeah,
that they can
Usopp
deploy.
Usopp has a factory.
That's cool, yeah.
There's a shark submerge. I think that's the
submarines.
the submarine thing.
Yeah.
There's the captain's ladder, lumber storage, ammo and weapons, and then I think this is just like one of them because there are other places.
Because there's
where
like a bird's eye view, then there's like
Yeah.
a long ways view, and
Here's
then
the
there's
other
like a
one. Yeah, there's the aquarium bar.
Yeah, see, aquarium.
Yeah, and then there's the men and females chamber, and then there's like a bathroom and stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
there's like a captain's quarters. There's like
Huge.
rooms for everybody in the Thousand
Frankie
Sunny,
did
yeah.
the home makeover version, extreme home makeover version of the Straw Hat ship.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no 1,000,000,000%. And
Yeah.
I bet you everybody's like, yeah, this is better. You know,
Yeah.
like come on.
But we all have that emotional attachment to the Going Merry.
Of
that
course,
we'll
but
miss.
like, come on. That makes Usopp's argument look more absurd now that you have this ship. Like,
Hey
you're
Usopp,
like,
you get this small room that we made out of the Going Merry's wood. Since you love it so
since you
much,
love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally. But yeah, so basically there's a huge part of the Thousand Sunny, and one of the best parts of One Piece is the moments that we get on the Thousand Sunny with all the, and we're getting to, once Brook joins, I believe this is where, because we don't get another person who joins the Straw Hats after Brook until maybe 400 chapters, 500 chapters. So
That far?
this is the
I know who it is,
core.
by the way. If we mention him, don't be like, I know who it is.
Yeah,
like,
he knows who it is. Sadly, I thought that one we might keep a secret.
No,
but
man,
no.
no. If there's if there's
yeah.
anything you One Piece fans suck at, it's spoilers. But I don't blame you. We're like 1,000 chapters into this series, and One Piece was popping off whenever chapter 1,000, episode 1,000 kicked off. So like, so many things came out. But nonetheless, I still enjoy this series as I read it. So don't feel discouraged by our reviews and reactions. They're still genuine. There's a lot of things that One Piece has hidden for me and hidden for us as we read along. So I still like it a lot. Brook adds a lot to the Straw Hats. He was actually the one I was looking the most forward to because on design alone, He is my favorite, other than Mihawk.
Really?
Other than Mihawk, I'm talking about Straw Hats because
Oh, okay,
Mihawk is my favorite on design and as a character because of how utterly cool he is.
Yeah.
But as a Straw Hat, I think Brook is my favorite. I haven't seen enough of him to like 100 cement that, but just on an unbiased. Before I read One Piece, I looked at Brook and it's like you're my favorite. I don't know why. I don't know. It's something about him just oozes like fun, cool. He's just I don't know. He has such a unique design. Obviously, Zoro is the automatic cool one.
I think Zoro post time skip is mine. But
I don't know.
Pre-time skip, I think it's Frankie. OG Frankie, I love his design.
Yeah,
I think he looks great.
He's just so fun. It's so cool. Really nice and genuine. He's like a much tamed version of Sanji towards women, at least.
Oh, Brook.
Yeah, he's very much more gentlemanly.
I don't know. Do you know when does he start asking for panties?
Yeah, I know. But he's like, may I please? Like, he's like a gentleman.
He is like,
excuse
may
me,
I
madam.
please see your panties?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it's like I see those Chad memes where it's like Sanji crying and it's like Virgin Sanji, and then it's like Chad Brook. It's like, may I please see your panties?
Yeah,
you know? But yeah, he's on this abandoned ship, and Brook is basically like, yay, I've been here for 80 years, you know? And you're like, how is the mental fortitude of this guy has to be like insane, because how has he not gone crazy?
Yeah, dude.
You know?
He has such a good attitude considering what's happened to him.
Yeah.
And the first thing we see when we see Brooks is him singing, and I obviously already knew what the song was.
Yeah.
Because it's Binks Brew. That's what the song is called. And
Very
I'm like,
famous song.
Yeah. He was singing the lyrics. I'm like, I think I know what the song is.
Yeah.
And immediately Luffy's like, I want you to be on our crew.
Well, of course, because as we go back, you know, like Luffy wanted a musician since like the first, you know,
he wanted
saga.
that before anything, before a ship,
like before a cook, you know. He was like, yeah, we need this, and they were like,
before a navigator, before anything,
and they were all like, hey, bro, what the heck? And I think that's because Luffy's like best memories was when he was with Shanks and they would like sing and stuff, and he would be having fun with them, which actually. Yeah, maybe that fits really well with One Piece Film Red. I never thought about that.
Yeah, Ben, maybe you shouldn't hate on it.
I don't hate on it.
I have no knowledge of One Piece Film Red.
It just was so non-canon. It hurt my brain.
Also,
you know?
It didn't help that One Piece Film Red was so tied in with that song. I got spoiled like 80% of the spoilers of Thriller Bark that I got spoiled on happened around the craze that One Piece Film Red was going on, just because of that song, because I know Yuta sings that song, does a rendition of that song.
Yeah.
And because of that, a bunch of people were talking about Brook, and then Brook popped up, and then like all my Twitter and / TikTok feed was like, like all over the place.
Dang.
So I'm like, well,
here it is. Yeah.
What are you gonna
do? So we meet Brook, and then
he reveals he has Brook. Usopp notices that he has no shadow and no reflection. Pretty odd, even for a skeleton. I don't think we've run into any skeletons by this point, but nonetheless, pretty odd for any monster in general.
Does he also reveal what his fruit is?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. The revive
through?
Yeah, something like that.
That does not have a good name.
The no dead fruit.
The no dead. The I'm alive again
the
fruit.
Jesus fruit.
No, stop. The Jesus fruit.
It's something along those lines. The revive. I think it's a revive, right? I want to say the revive vibe.
It's the Yamu no Mi. And the revive through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we got it right.
There you go.
First try. Yeah. Not the Jesus fruit.
Not the Jesus fruit.
But yeah, it keeps him from dying, basically, right?
It kept him from dying once.
So it only works once.
Uh-huh.
Can he die again?
No, I don't think so. I think
so basically it's an immortality fruit.
Yeah, because it jumping further on, he dies from the poison. Right.
Okay, but here's one thing I want to clarify, and I don't know if it's spoilers. If he didn't die, and if he just ate the fruit, and if like 100 years pass, would he still be a skeleton, or would he just look normal?
That's a good question.
Because or does it just make you a skeleton regardless, or did that just happen just because he died?
Let's read it. The Yummy no Mi is a paramecia-type devil fruit, which enhances the user's soul to the point where they resurrect after their first death. So no,
So
if
they
he dies
age.
again,
So
yeah.
they age normally. I guess
allowing them to live a second time. So I think
you just
when
end up a
Brooke,
skeleton at some point.
yeah. So I think what the idea is that Brooke was technically reborn, and now he's like around the age of like 40 like years. So I think when he is, because characters die when they're 120, 140 in One Piece.
So Bible years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I think they're 140. That's when they start to get like old, like elderly.
So
like
Brooke
around
will
60,
die
80.
again, technically, right?
Yes, he would die again. That's what I believe. That might be wrong. Some people might be no, he is basically immortal, but I don't know. We'll have to see on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But basically, he has no shadow. Mind you, the Thousand Sunny is surrounded by this fog now. They've entered what they call the something triangle, the Floridian triangle.
Yeah, the Floridian Triangle. Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a spooky place where ships go in and disappear, kind of like the Bermuda Triangle.
And Brooke is basically like, no, you're not escaping. Like,
Yeah, you're right. You're done for. Like,
yeah, that's what Brooke was like. I've been trying to get out of here for years. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
you ain't going anywhere. You trapped. Basically, they're enveloped in this so-called storm and never-ending night fog that they're surrounded in. There's a bunch of like deserted and wrecked ships all around. Brooke says that his shadow has been stolen. Does he say who it's stolen from?
I don't think so.
He say his shadow was stolen by.
I don't think we know because Hogback, who is like the kind of secondary villain,
the doctor, right?
The doctor, who is played by one of my very close friends.
Who?
Marcus Stimmick.
Who else does he voice? When I saw the clips of this arc, I only saw the subs.
Marcus has voiced so many characters over the years. I mean, he most recently directed the Iceblade Sorcerer anime that came out last spring.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he works on a whole bunch of stuff. He is assistant director for a lot of stuff. He directs now some episodes for One Piece. So yeah, he's a big voice actor. Yeah, so I work with him a lot. If you don't know, we live in Dallas, and I work a lot with these famous voice actors. I myself have worked in voiceover work. Yeah. It's great. I work with these famous voice actors a lot, and Marcus works at the theater that I work at regularly, Shakespeare Dallas. So
very cool.
I'm good friends with him.
Shout out to Dr. What's his name?
Hogback.
Hogback. Yeah, you're the scum of the earth. The character, not the voice actor.
Yeah. You're the scum of the earth. Yeah.
But I think we do. I don't think we reveal who's the big baddie until in the middle or something like that. But Brooke, his shadow is stolen. I think he just doesn't mention who it's stolen from. But regardless, whoever rules this place stole his shadow, and that because of that, he cannot leave, and sunlight cannot touch him. Otherwise, he definitely will die. That's what happens to anyone.
That's right. That's
right.
Yeah,
you will die if sunlight touches you. If you have no shadow, and that's basically how it works. And
it's weird that like. Him being a skeleton has nothing to do with Thriller Bark, right? Like
it's very in theme, but it has like nothing to do.
It just has nothing to do with it. Yeah, it's very fascinating. I like that it does fit it. Like just kind of like Chopper is a reindeer in this winter, but him being a reindeer. Well, I guess he was from there, and he ate the human fruit.
You would have assumed that Wano, we would have gotten the Zoro type character, but we just chose.
But we already got Zoro,
yeah.
So, you know.
And I'm trying to think, Water, Frankie, Cyborg.
I mean, it is a lot about building.
Type.
Yeah, so I guess him being like a cyborg and a built himself machine makes sense. But, yeah. But anyway, so we do get to Thriller Bark, and they make what I think is one of the worst decisions ever. Usopp, Nami, and Chopper, who are known as in the fandom the Weak Three.
Yeah.
They're like
the Weak Three.
They're like, let's go by ourselves. You know, like.
Yeah, I knew they were gonna get captured immediately.
Yeah, and they're like having the worst time, which is one of the funniest parts of the arc, is because they go through these trials and tribulations where they see these zombies and they get captured, and Absalom tries to.
He's the lion-headed guy, right?
Yeah, who's invisible, who tries some shady stuff with Nami.
Yeah, he originally fights Zoro. Like Zoro notices what something like their stuff is like getting stolen or they're getting pulled around. by this like poltergeist that they don't know, but it's essentially revealed to be Absalon, one of like the generals or something like that. One of like one of the leaders
one of the leaders of the Thriller Bark pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go through these trials and have the worst time and barely get out alive. And then the second group, which is Nami, Robin, Zoro, and Frankie, right?
Yeah.
They go in and are like, oh, what is this? You know, right? Like the zombie. I think one of the most famous scenes from Thriller Bark is the scene where the zombie comes up and goes and then Luffy, and then Luffy goes and pushes him back down. He's like, no, you're a skeleton, you're supposed to stay down there and stuff. Have you seen that scene?
I think I know what you're just talking about, but I think I remember more clearly the one where there's like some dogs or something, like some 2 or 3 headed dogs or like some zombie looking dogs. And then while they scared the crap out of Nami and Usopp.
Oh yeah.
And then like Luffy's like either tries to eat them or is like chasing them, and then like the dogs are scared.
Yeah.
And, like leave us alone. Like, and Luffy's like, let's go right on it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So this was the scene that I was talking about, and I'll put this.
I remember
on the screen.
I remember this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks it's just some old guy or something like that.
Old One Piece humor is so good. No, like old piece.
Yeah, that's
like
the dog I'm talking about. Yeah,
like dry One Piece humor back then was so good, man. Like I think it's so good.
It's just Luffy just being oblivious to anything.
Yeah,
it just makes it so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but essentially the crew have to track them down, have to track Usopp, Nami, and Chopper around. But they're not essentially captured once they get to the castle, like the main building.
Yeah.
They're kind of welcomed in, and they're welcomed in by, what's the main zombie chick, the one that breaks the plates a lot?
Pura, right?
Yeah, something like that. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Oh, you mean the chick, right?
Yeah, the one that breaks the plates a lot.
Yeah. The pink one. Yeah, that's Perona.
No, that's not her. That's a different one. Perona's the bad one. The Perona's like the works at the pirates.
Oh, Victoria?
Yeah, something like that. Victoria.
That one, right?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. Like she's.
I completely forgot about Victoria.
Yeah, she's like a butt maid type. She's like a maid or something like that.
Oh yeah.
She welcomes them in. Like I don't know if they eat or anything, but basically they kind of relaxed, and they're gonna meet with Dr. Hogback, and then like Chopper's like, oh, Dr. Hogback, he's so famous for like whatever.
I forgot about this. Is that this completely changes, and this is an important lesson for Chopper, is that not everybody is trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know, and don't always believe the stories that you've heard.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Dr. Hogback's supposed to be this profound doctor who helps people and whatnot, and who was apparently set out to create immortality, or like to cure something that cures everything, or that's supposed to create immortality so no one ever dies. And like, oh, he's so noble, he's so great for that. I wish I could be like him one day. And eventually that ends up not being true, because Dr. Hogback is not a good guy. Because we eventually find down the road is that Dr. Hogback is like, yeah, I just created zombies, and they're just made way better than humans because you can do whatever you want with them and they can never die.
Yeah.
And that's not good, as it turns out. But you're right. Nami ends up getting captured and, so to speak, molested by this like invisible Absalom guy while she's taking a bath.
I do not like that scene. It's a sketchy scene. Usopp with the
took
save,
a picture of
though.
it. I was like,
oh no.
I was like, hey yo,
get that out. I don't want to remember that. But yeah.
Yeah, but he asked her to be his bride.
Yeah. I don't think he asks.
Well, does
he say? Is it like a question mark, or is he like?
No, I'm gonna make you my bride.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think he asks. I don't think he asks. I mean, that's one of the big parts is that he's Sanji's villain of this arc, right? And Sanji saves Nami from being married to him.
Oh my god! One of the other funniest parts is when Luffy's like everyone's like, usually everything's creepy, and like Luffy's like, it's like this disgusting tree and like a unicorn, like oh my god, I want to zoom in. And then he's like, the tree guy and unicorn are having a drink together.
And he's like, do you want to join my crew?
And he's like, I caught you. And then like, stop touching and asking everything to join your crew.
It's so stupid.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, Luffy's so unfazed by like everything in Thriller Bark. It's just really funny. But I gotta say, on character design and all, I kind of got tired really quickly about everything's a zombie, everything's spooky. I'm not a fan of it. One of the
It
things that
became
put me
very
up.
one note. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I get it. Zombies, like, they're not that impressive anymore, and everything's spooky. And at this point, I started like realizing, and it's nothing new because like One Piece done it a bunch of times, and I know that we're gonna do it several times. I feel like every time I start an arc now, unless it does something really special or something big or like a character that I really like, because we get introduced to Brook, and maybe it would have helped if he stuck with them along the way.
He isn't in the arc that he shows up in. He's not a big part,
No. He
which
shows
is
up in the beginning and then disappears and then just shows up in the end.
which is very different from things that we've seen. Like Frankie was a major part of the last saga, right?
Nami too, Usopp as well.
Chopper was
Chopper,
the lead of his arc. You know,
but Brook kind of isn't into this one.
No.
And that isn't inherently in the problem, except where I wish he would just be in it. Maybe it would have made things more enjoyable along the way or more readable.
he does show
interesting.
up, but it's a little.
To me, if
It's
he
a
showed up
little
in the
too
beginning
late.
and then in the end.
Yeah, it's a little too late for when he shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I felt like every time by this point, like once I got to this arc, I'm like, oh, we got to get used to these characters. We got to get used to this island, this setting. I got to memorize where everything is. I got to care about these people and hate on these people. So I'm like, by this point, I'm like, I'm done with this routine. Unless something impresses me like immensely, I'm going to get real tired of it real quick.
Yeah.
And since I was unfazed by like the zombie spooky thing, I was like, I'm not a fan of this.
Hard,
It's gonna get rough, and it really was. And it took me a long time to get through this. So, excuse me if I can't remember everything clearly, because it took like almost half a year to finish this arc.
Yeah. Well, let's just jump to some more interesting moments. So we do meet Gecko Moria, who we thought Hogbag was going to be
the big bad.
And I'm kind of glad he wasn't. I actually like Gecko Moria.
Yeah. Also, for someone who's supposed to be one of the 7 warlords of the sea, I was really unimpressed. It was a good build-up. I'm like, oh my god, I did not think we would get a 7 warlord of the sea this quick again.
This is the first bad guy he had to. No, Crocodile was a warlord.
Crocodile.
Never mind.
So the stakes were high. Like we had a good. I mean, it was a slow build-up, but once they said one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and this entire island is a big ship, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be tons of fun. But I don't know, it wasn't when I got introduced. It wasn't like it was disappointing. It was just like I kept reading and reading and reading. I'm like, why am I not? Why is this not good? Or why am I not enjoying this? I don't know. I was just really disappointed by this 7 warlord of the sea.
I even think like in terms of I think this and Skypiea has the least impact on the story overall.
Yeah, it should. I feel like a 7 warlord of the sea should have impact. That
is not to say until the last like 10 chapters, right?
No,
Because the last 10 chapters, and we'll talk about that, has so much in it that lead up into the final saga.
See,
of
that's
it,
I feel like everything Oda has built up, has put all the good things and laid them out. Not explore them. He mentioned them. He talks about them. Obviously, he doesn't. He wants to save all of it for other stories.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Once we got to Thriller Bark, I already got the sense that we're so far removed from everything that the world is. You know what I mean? Like,
do you know what my theory is?
What?
Is that he did have a plan to put Brook in it, but I think Thriller Bark was the 2 years that he needed to perfectly plan out
everything
that happens after. And that's what I take it as, because it just, to me, it seems like a lot of silly jokes. And that's not bad, you know. It seems to me like a lot of silly. It doesn't quite feel like a filler arc, like what I think. Like
Thriller Bark, more like filler arc. That's a good one. I'm pretty sure that's nowhere near original.
Yeah, I'm sure
that
not.
was really funny.
Yeah, but I don't think it feels like I feel like the arc that feels most like a filler arc is Skypiea.
Yeah.
But I think for this one, there are just moments of it that you're like, this feels like it's not going to have importance in the story, and it's not going to be brought up again.
Yeah.
You know, like there are a couple of fights in here that just feel like, you know, and this is when it really starts to show up, like Sanji kicks the guy who likes the girls and is creepy. Zoro fights another sword guy, you know.
Really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. So it's just like there are moments in here that are really, really good, genuine gems, and it is the fights. But that kind of feels like what this is it is like funny moment, build up to a fight, and then important stuff happens at the end, you know?
It's so weird because usually I care about the world and the world building and the lore after I'm entertained by fights, funny characters, set pieces, and after that, I'm interested in everything else the world has to offer. But 100 chapters in, and mind you, that's still a lot, but compared to One Piece, it's nothing. At the very beginning of the story, already I was so interested in everything that Oda set up. Everything that the seven warlords of the sea, the three great powers of the world, or whatever you want to call them, the pirates with the highest bounties, Shanks, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, what's Luffy's brother's name?
Oh, Ace.
Ace. Literally all those characters, all those things, all those the Navy, the world government, all of it. I was so excited for, even though he just literally mentions it. He doesn't show us. I mean, he shows us a lot, but all he does is gives us little snippets. And for some reason, and I noticed this immediately in what's the Lowtown? Immediately in Lowtown, I realized that the world and the world building is far more interesting to me than fights. Again, fights are really cool, but I don't know. Just something about being involved with the inner workings of what's happening in the world is just, I don't know what it is that's so interesting about it. Anytime we meet, again, not this one technically because it kind of ruined the hype, but anytime we met seven warlords of the sea or an admiral or the navy of the big head, I'm like, oh, something interesting is going on. Because there's a big fight, just because
Garp's reveal last saga was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
right?
I just like knowing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I guess it's just like an exploration.
That's what Oda does. He rewards you for being a fan, which I feel like a lot of modern day, specifically Hollywood franchises forget.
It's something very very unique. I mean, you get that with a lot of stories, but usually with stories as long as this, you're like, I want to see these characters meet after a long buildup of this, or I want to see these characters fight because I've been along with this. I want this character to not die because I care about them. But by this point, I just want to know more about the world of One Piece, and that's, a really good thing to have. And I felt like this was like the antithesis to that because it was so far removed. Other than the Seven Warlord of the Sea, which should have fixed it, but it somehow didn't. Because for me, Gecko Moria was just not it, even though his devil fruit was really kind of cool.
A really cool devil fruit.
Cool,
yeah,
really cool. But I don't know, it just
I agree with you. Gecko,
didn't hit me.
I like Gecko Moria as a entity
in concept,
but I would say I don't know, when we get towards the end, we're gonna do a little pre-time skip, like best villains of One Piece, best blah 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 of One Piece. So be looking forward to those videos. I think Gecko Moria might be low on this.
He was in the buggy clown range for me.
Buggy is S for me, baby.
And if you haven't watched,
so he's gonna be in the B.
So you think he's an A? I'm like, no, he's like a C, D, F for me. Like, because I think Buggy the Clown as of right now is an F. Because man, I did not like that arc or him, and I felt the same way. I got the same vibes from this arc. I'm like, let's move on to the next island, please.
If you watch that video, I had a whole bunch of fun editing it. I edited in a whole bunch of boos when Edgar would say, "I don't like Buggy," and people are like, "Boo, boo!"
I just got Team Rocket vibes, annoyance levels from Buggy the Clown.
That's what he is, and I mean, maybe like I didn't become like, I was like, Buggy is cool at the beginning, but when Impel Down happens, and Impel Down's like, I think my favorite arc other than Wano, he really becomes like, dude, he's one of my favorite characters.
We'll see, man, because
I love him, man.
really, really bad setup for me. But
in terms of villains, he might need to be a little bit lower. But
and
but
Gecko, Gecko Moria, just like he was. I don't know what I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know. Like he was evil. Yeah, I guess he was missing that "I really hate you" thing about him. Like that's what I like about One Piece of villains.
Yeah.
I don't like them per se. I just really like what they are to the story because I really want to see the heroes overcome them.
Man, I can't wait till you meet my favorite villain. Oh.
Yeah, I just really...
Dude, I cannot wait because he is like my favorite. He's like one of my favorite villains in all of manga and anime.
Is it Doflamingo? Yeah.
And people are like, Kaido is better. And I'm like, no, shut up. Shut up. Doflamingo is like the best One Piece villain. He is so awful. I love him.
I hear he's one of the... He's like up there with like...
Who's the guy from Hunter x Hunter? I know that's one of like
he's
the
up
best.
there with Merwin, some character from Monster. I know... He's up there in top 10, top 5 villains in manga in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he is, someone I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And I just wish we had that. I guess we just needed something. Again, if Brook was in along with the story, and if there was more of a tie between
that might have added
Brook's
that. Yeah.
Because what did Brook? I mean, I'm skipping ahead a bit, but what did Brook died from poison? But what caused it? Were they attacked by pirates with poison swords or something like that?
Yeah, I think they got attacked by pirates with poison swords and they were all
like,
dying from it. Yeah.
I like his backstory, but maybe if Gecko Moria was tied into that, we would be like, man, I felt sad for Brooks, and if Brooks' backstory was tied into that, I would like to see Gecko Moria toppled and kicked and punched, and like I want to see him lose.
The reason why I don't think they did that was because the last saga was so hell-bent focused on Robin getting revenge on, a past villain that did all of this stuff, because it was CP9 that did it, and it was that one dude who leads them that did it. So I guess Oda was like, okay, let's not do the same thing and let's make him detached, which I mean, when you talk about, when we'll get there, when you talk about Brook's backstory, completely different feel around that. That's one of my favorite backstories. So we'll talk about it. But let's move on. Let's start talking about some fights. What did you think about Oars, who was the dead giant?
Yeah, the dead giant. Yeah. Really cool. I knew what he was. Well, I didn't know what he was. I remember seeing him. He's like one of the most notable manga panels when I go through the bookstores, seeing like Luffy in front of Oars.
Oh, that one where he's like this, and then Oars is in the background.
Yeah, the one where he's like they're yelling.
Doesn't Luffy go in, like his shadow go into Oars?
Yeah, because it gets revealed that Gecko Moria's devil fruit can steal shadows, and he put the reason the zombies.
That's right.
The reason the zombies
share like the personalities.
Yeah, they share traits of the personalities. And the reason why zombies are able to move in the first place is because they have a shadow that is stolen. And one of the shadows that we meet, one of the zombies that we meet is the samurai.
Jack. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, I'll search him up.
I don't know what his name is, but basically that samurai has Brook's.
Ryuma.
Ryuma has Brook's shadow, which is why he has some personality traits of Brook. I don't know what it was. I guess he's a good fighter or something like that. But that more.
Brook is a swordsman. So yeah.
Brook is a swordsman. There you go. I was gonna say like the zombie was a swordsman, so I don't know why he doesn't have any traits. But yeah, Brook is a swordsman. That's why he's really good. And eventually Sanji's shadow gets stolen, and he ends up in a bear or something like that, a panda or something like that, and he's very like kind towards women and hates the men and doesn't care about them and whatnot. We meet a lot of zombies. Perona is one of them. She can control ghosts.
Yeah. And doesn't her ghost like make people sad?
Yeah, except it doesn't accept Usopp. It doesn't affect Usopp because Usopp is already very filled with negativity.
Yeah.
And then
that's right.
And there's a funny panel because it's very reminiscent of the shocked face from what do you call it? What was the god? Eneru?
Eneru, yeah.
Eneru. It was like a very similar face. I'm already extremely negative, and it was like the exact same face.
Like,
yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that fight because that's Usopp's big fight of this, and doesn't he fake like I have this like 20 million ton hammer, and if I like crush you with it, like check this out, and then
Anytime-
she like passes out or something,
No,
and he's
anytime-
like, phew, thank God that worked.
Yeah, I really like that gag. Like he's done this before, where people
Yeah.
get really intimidated by his like immense, heavily hammer,
Yeah.
and it ends up being fake. Really funny. I hope they keep doing it because it's a really funny gag.
Yeah. So Usopp fights Perona, and Zoro fights Ryuma,
Yeah, and before that, Frankie and Robin
and Chopper fight Oars, right?
kinda.
Because isn't that when they do like the ultimate Ultraman connect?
Yeah, you're right.
And then Robin is like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not
that
doing
was
that.
so stupid. I loved
Yeah,
it.
I
loved it.
really like when Brooke joined the
Yeah.
fight again when he comes in to save Robin
Yeah.
and Frankie from the giant spider.
Yeah, I love
monkey.
his slash where he's like closing his cane, because he just like his cane is also his his sword. Did you like when Frankie played Minecraft?
What are you talking about?
Remember when Frankie was like, or no, he was playing Fortnite. That's what people say.
I was like, what? I was like,
He was like getting planks and like building it on top of each other.
oh,
Remember
I see what
that?
you mean. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
And
I
then
was like,
people were like, "It's Minecraft."
I mean,
And he's
Fortnite,
like-
yeah.
and Fortnite.
I mean,
I don't
same-
think
it's the same
I don't
thing.
think Fortnite was out at the time, so everybody says he played. But like nowadays, when you see it, it's like Frankie playing Fortnite.
yeah.
And stuff like that. So we get to see like Frankie's like building abilities and stuff like that against
Yeah.
Oars. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the most impressive fight was Zoro's. I guess he just has the coolest fight other than Luffy's. But I gotta say, Luffy's fight wasn't the best one in this one.
yeah.
It was
agree.
definitely Zoro's.
There is a lot of people do not like Nightmare Luffy, and we'll get on it.
It's not that I don't like him. For
Yeah.
one thing, I was spoiled on Nightmare Luffy, but I thought it was a gear. I thought it was a third gear.
Yeah, because it kind of. I mean, Edgar knows what Gear 4 looks like,
And 5.
and 5 looks like. Sadly.
Wah, wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah, wah, wah.
I blame
But,
you,
know.
One Piece fans. If you're
Yeah.
upset, just blame yourself.
Well, but it's even hard.
You're
when
worse
you,
than
it's-
Demon Slayer
It's hard.
fans.
Yeah, it is hard.
You're
I mean,
worse,
it's
like-
hard when you walk in the manga store and then like volume 102 is out and it's Luffy and his,
that
or
wasn't how I got
103.
spoiled, by the way.
Yeah.
It was
of course.
It was just when the chapter came out.
Of course.
Y'all just talked about it. Y'all posted it everywhere, literally everywhere. You do not hold back. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll get on into that. Zoro fights off against Ryuma, and Ryuma says some interesting stuff. Do you remember what Ryuma said?
I think I have a panel. Either way, Ryuma is someone from Wano country, which is really.
Does he say Wano in here?
No,
That's
but
what I'm saying.
but
That's what I'm interested in.
yeah. As long. Ryuma offers his sword to Zoro.
Yeah, because doesn't Zoro's sword break during this arc? Isn't that something
Something
that
like
happens?
something like that.
Yeah.
The sword is mine to keep. Well, this is what Zoro says. The sword is mine to keep, but let's pretend this fight never happened. Samurai of the Wano country. So I
he
think
does
Zoro.
say Wano.
So Zoro knows. I just don't know if Ryuma or I don't know if the zombie told him that he's from Wano. I think Zoro yeah,
Wow.
you're from Wano.
I wish I could talk to you about this, but I can't. Because something happens in Wano that makes it so much sense why Zoro knows that.
Well, he's a samurai. Samurais only come from Wano, I guess, because we never met anyone like Zoro.
But Zoro has a very and I won't say any more on that. But Zoro has a very specific reason why he knows.
Okay,
and
well-
we'll talk about that in Wano. Ben, make a mental note. Talk about that. Bring that up in Wano. Wano's gonna be like a 4
Is this the first time we've heard of?
Wano's gonna be like a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah.
There's so much in it. We
It's
might
gonna be
have.
a 24-hour
yeah.
stream.
We
Wano.
we might need to do 2 episodes, 2 Manga Monday show episodes, and it'll probably be split into like
4.
6 parts
Oh, 4
for
parts.
the Half Blind
Yeah.
One Piece review. It's so large. It's 5 years of the manga
How many
runtime.
chapters?
Well, let's see.
200.
So it starts on volume around 87 and ends around 105. So it's
Hey, that's-
probably
that's not-
around 200
That's
something.
that's not that bad, but it
Yeah.
is much longer than anything. It's
Yeah.
longer than some sagas.
It's
Uh,
longer than some mangas. Yeah, it's longer than. It's longer than.
Chainsaw Man Part 1.
Yeah,
That's not that long. That's like a. That's
that
97.
is not that long.
That is almost as
It's-
long as Demon Slayer.
It's almost as long as Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
It's longer than Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I don't know how many chapters Soul
Yeah,
Eater is,
but yeah,
but it is long,
It's
to
long.
say the least.
Yeah. It's longer than Dr. Stone. There you
yeah,
go.
definitely
Yeah,
longer than Dr. Stone.
yeah.
Yeah, but what were we talking about?
Fights. Sanji
this-
also faces off against the invisible dude.
Yeah.
And Sanji says, "I wanted that fruit." He says, "I know your devil fruit because I wanted it."
Yeah, invisible.
You know? And that if Sanji had it, he would have been OP. You know, like
also canceled immediately.
Yeah,
he-
oh, yeah.
it's like
is that the reason why he wanted the fruit? was
yeah,
to
he wanted to
spy?
peep on girls. Like he wanted to peep on naked
Thank
girls.
God he did not get that.
That's
fruit.
like if it's all, I don't know who would be worse with that power, Mineta or Sanji. I'm pretty
Sanji.
sure Mineta would be way worse.
It's a minute,
Mineta would be way worse with that
Yeah.
power. But real quick before we move on, is this the first time we've heard of Wano?
Mhm.
Is this the first time? Okay.
I think it's the only time we'll hear of Wano for a long time
Oh.
until the Zoe arc or the Zoo arc, however you pronounce it. But yeah, no, that's not true. Until Punk Hazard. Sorry about that. But yeah, but yeah. So that's very fascinating. Oda's biggest arc, he's already setting up right here, which I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But so let's get on into the more Luffy-centric part of the story. So Luffy finds these zombies who have taken the personalities of some people who he knows, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, we learned that one of the people is one of the Big Mom pirates. We know that.
I don't know that. I don't.
Let me see if I can find her.
I think I remember that.
Remember, she gives her the Vivre card, like.
The one who's
yeah.
a boar.
The one who was a boar, yeah. And
the one
Luffy,
who wants to marry Absalom.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
Luffy meets her, and we learn that she is a Big Mom pirate. She gives Nami her Vivre card,
What is that?
which is it's the piece of paper that slide closer towards somebody.
Oh,
And
'cause
Luffy,
that's the one that Ace gave Luffy. That one.
and it's starting, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's
but
at
yeah.
the end.
But yeah, so Luffy, does he like combine with the zombies or something?
Yeah,
to
they
create?
shove. I mean, this is
Yeah.
towards. I'm trying to remember before we get to. I mean, we said that we jump all over the place, but I'm just trying to
Yeah.
remember if we skipped anything important.
Just be careful. I
Um,
gotta leave at 3:30, just so you know.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, no, you're good. I'm just
That's why
trying.
I'm just a little
There's
bit like
no, there's nothing. Yeah, I'm trying to. I just don't want to skip anything major, but literally nothing happens. I can't remember much.
Yeah, I can't either.
But yeah, they shoved the zombies. They shoved the
Yeah.
shadows that they've
Yeah.
kept all this time, because they've been saving up for I don't know somebody or
Yeah.
just in general, just in case. But they put all the shadows in Luffy so Luffy can have all the powers of not the powers, but all the strength basically
Yeah.
of the shadows, and it makes him into this. What's the form called again? Dark some
A Nightmare Luffy.
Nightmare Luffy.
Yeah.
He's blue and all that and really strong. And Ors, basically, who has the personality of Luffy, is trying to use Luffy's power.
Yeah.
He's like gum like Gatling gun, but which isn't really working. It's just like him trying to. I think
Yeah.
at some point he does stretch, but not because he has the rubber for it, but because he's like a zombie and it's like just like deforming himself or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that fight happens, and it was okay. It was pretty fun, really creative, and of using the devil fruit's
Yeah,
power.
and then while that's happening, I believe Zoro, Usopp, and the rest of Straw Hats face off against Oars, right? Is
Yeah.
that what's happening?
Yeah, you said
yeah.
they do this like they team up together in this like form or whatever.
Yeah.
Frankie
yeah.
and like
And
Usopp.
Nami's like, no.
No.
I mean, Robin's
Robin.
like, no.
Yeah.
Nami kind of plays the
Damsel in
the
distress.
damsel in distress in this one, which
She
I
literally
kind of
wears her
don't,
wedding
which
dress.
I kind of don't like, you know.
Yeah.
I like how Oda has made really good, strong female characters. And I don't know. I mean, Robin already played kind of the damsel in distress, but that made sense, you know. And this one is kind of just like,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, she doesn't have a devil fruit. All she has is her staff.
Right.
And the zombies are technically really strong, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's
It
been
it just doesn't help.
And to be
that-
honest, like the Straw Hats have been growing at such an immense rate that it's been really hard for Nami to catch up just with her, you know,
yeah,
her
I-
tempo.
I guess it
Yeah.
just didn't help with image wise, like with her being married off to like somebody in general and her being in
Yeah.
a wedding dress. I was like, oh no, it's a classic, save me from like this awful marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
but I mean, it wasn't bad. That wasn't like it wasn't anything that put me off. But I don't know. It's just I really just can't put my finger on in a broad sense of what made me dislike this arc.
Yeah.
Or
We're getting towards the end. We'll talk about more praiseworthy stuff. But since we're talking about the meat, tell us exactly, like, overall, like, why do you think? And I know you're about to say I don't know why, but why do you think that this arc fell more flat than other One Piece arcs in comparison to One Piece arcs? Thriller Bark, in terms of manga as a whole, is still a good arc, but as a One Piece
in
arc,
One Piece,
it falls a little bit flat.
For one thing, it doesn't help that you're coming off the heels of one of the best arcs up to this point.
Yeah.
Enies Lobby, it's like a Dark Knight versus Dark Knight Rises situation.
Yeah.
No matter what comes after it, you're going to be put on the same bars of expectations. So that does not help at all.
Yeah.
And you have the spooky zombie vibe thing. Not a good strong theme to write off in general, so that doesn't really help. You don't have your new character, the one that's already really likable, Brooks. Yeah. You put him to the sideline for a majority of this arc. Not a good call. I mean, in the end, it might not have worked if he wasn't it, but in hindsight, it didn't work. Yeah. You probably should have kept Brooks in the story. Gecko Moria wasn't a good admiral. Wasn't that intimidating, and probably would have helped if we had
Warlord.
Warlord. What did I say? Admiral? Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Warlord.
Yeah.
Probably would have been more intimidating and more a villain to want to see beaten if he was more tied with Brooks' backstory, or just a Straw Hat or main story.
That's what we normally see, is that the villain is tied. Now you say that.
You said that, and it might have been tiresome, but now that we've seen it happen and it clearly didn't work.
But now that you say that, it begins to make more, like, Gecko Moria didn't really do anything wrong. It's what he's gonna do wrong. Well, he's like, oh, if I get loose, I'm gonna take over the world with this shadow monster demon stuff.
Well, let's take an example real quick. All Might and All for One. What makes All for One intimidating immediately? Is it just because he's really strong? Yeah, but what keeps him more interesting is that he's tied with All Might's backstory.
Yeah.
And that's what we almost got, because once they mentioned that Gecko Moria was a seventh warlord of the sea, I'm like, I'm in. But you're just missing that hook of what keeps that connection to one of our protagonists or to a main storyline. Yeah, Gecko Moria stealing all these poor pirates' souls and shadows.
Chopper, Frankie,
Robin,
Nami.
Yeah.
Nami.
Not Zoro. That's kind of like a special case scenario.
Not Usopp either, I don't think. Usopp doesn't have
more
a past
tied to the
history,
town.
but he's tied to the town that he's gonna harm.
Yeah.
So that helps. So basically, almost every Straw Hat that we has had that connection with that big bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that maybe if there was like
Sanji didn't.
Yeah, maybe if there was like a time limit, like if they don't get their shadow back by this point, they will die. Maybe we'll be like, now we really have. I mean, they have to stop them at some point. But you know what I mean? There wasn't a real emphasis on like we have to stop them, because
what wasn't the time limit? You have to stop them before the sun comes up.
Yeah, because the sun was gonna come up, but I mean, it wasn't revealed until like the very end.
Yeah.
But I wish we had that. I don't know. Maybe that's what was missing. There's like a lot of other factors. I got tired of the whole, we had to learn all these new characters shtick, and I got real tired of it. I don't know. Maybe if we talk to, maybe now that I'm done with it, if I can talk to like a Saul, maybe he can point it out, or Alec or somebody. Yeah. Maybe if I can get some outside point, but that's why
some expertise.
But that's
we bring Asal on as our One Piece expert. He is a One Piece encyclopedia.
Yeah, so, but that's why I didn't like it. And a lot of other factors. Let's just move on, I guess.
Let's move on
to the good stuff.
The end of the arc.
The better half.
So Luffy and the Straw Hats, they end up being successful in their endeavor against Kuma. No, that's later. Against
Spoiler.
spoiler. No, against Gecko Moria. I already forgot his name.
And
no,
Oars.
just kidding. Against and Oars.
Yeah.
And so they're going to say goodbye to Charlotte Linlin, and she's like, "Hey, if you ever need any help, come see Big Mom, who we've heard as one of the 4."
That'll go out well.
Yeah, that'll end up well.
Yeah.
Who ends up being one of the 4, and he knows this, one of the 4 emperors of the sea.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, and they give her the card, and people are also like, hey, what's wrong with Ace's card? And it's starting to burn up, and Luffy's like, I'm sure he's fine.
See, this is why it's things like this. Again, I kind of know what happens afterward, not because again, Ben hasn't spoiled me anything. I feel like people immediately want to go to the comments.
People do love to go, it's Ben, he spoiled him. And I'm like, guys, I've been so careful.
He has not spoiled a single thing in One Piece. Anything he has, I told him to tell me.
Yeah, that's why people think I spoil you, is because I say things that are like, okay, in our blind, like you reacting to all Devil Fruits blind, people are like, oh, I'm not gonna spoil it, he says, and then he says, by the way, here's Brook, and here's his Devil Fruit, because I know he already knows who Brook is.
90% of the spoilers I've been spoiled on One Piece was by you guys, the fans. 10%.
Not you. No, not you. The
not
TikTok people. Please like and subscribe and don't leave us.
Yeah, no.
You know, not you guys.
Just like One Piece fan in general. The internet. And 10% of it was from Ben from a good year where I didn't care about anything One Piece, where I'm like, literally tell me, because I literally don't care. I want to be spoiled on One Piece. I do not care about One Piece.
There was a year where he was like, I'm just never going to read it.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it.
I was like, oh, okay, well then I'll tell you kind of what happened in here.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But
still, I was
you know.
dead set on not reading it. Like I was literally done with hearing about One Piece. I was done with people recommending it. I was done with Ben talking about it. That I'm like, Ben just vented on me. I really don't care what you have to say about One Piece. But literally, and they were not even as close to the spoilers that was spoiled on the internet. So they were inconsequential compared to the other ones. So don't throw shade at him.
So Ace.
But Ace, I love it. Again, going back to the world building and the lore, I love it when we just know about things. And like it sets up things perfectly. Like with Ace's fight against Blackbeard. Immediately makes you think, what happened with his fight against Blackbeard? Did he lose? Is he dying?
That makes you that's when you begin to worry, right?
Yeah.
Is when you're like, oh no. And that's why people are like, oh, I wish I saw that fight. And I'm like, no, I think this is better. This is better for them not to show it. And now you're like, oh my God, like what the heck happened?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So you're still left guessing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luffy passes out.
Yeah.
And then we get a new tyrant comes in. Another warlord comes in, and he seems to be a little bit more menacing than Gecko Moria. Right?
Ligma balls.
Yeah, the Ligma balls.
Just because of that one meme.
Yeah. Who the hell is Steve Jobs? Ligma balls. Yeah, that's a meme that Edgar was also spoiled on because of memes. But that one's fine because that one's funny.
Yeah. But Kuma is one of the 7 warlords of the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has the pawpaw fruit.
Yeah, pawpaw fruit.
And he's kind of like a half cyborg. I don't know if he
is
is
a
at
cyborg,
this
right?
point. Yeah, I think
he's
he
a
is,
weapon technically.
Yeah,
is what they classified him as.
Yeah.
Which was I did not know that. I like I thought he was a person. So
yeah.
But I'm trying. So what? Other than what we get, I mean, don't spoil me unless I already know.
Don't worry.
I know he can. Can he teleport people? But he can also move. No, he applies. God, I already immediately forgot.
Kuma, you will soon see. There is something that I can't tell you. Where is the reason he's able to use multiple abilities? Okay, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because he does things like he can absorb and like.
Because right now he can absorb energy and transfer it.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
Because that's what his power does right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody in the comments who is better versed in Kuma's pawpaw fruit.
He was.
You know.
created by Dr. Vegapunk. We've heard that name
mentioned
before.
Vegapunk, who was only just revealed in the manga. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know. I knew that
yeah.
already. I already know what he looks like. So like
He
again,
knew what Vegapunk looked like before me.
Yeah.
He sent me, oh, Vegapunk's design looked cool, and I went, dude, I haven't read the chapter this week yet.
Now that I think about it, did I know what Gear 5 looked like before you did?
No. Because I read it. I waited because Asal read the spoilers beforehand, and he said, we're gonna wait up tonight to read it. And as soon as it came out, we read it, and we talked about it all night long. It was fantastic.
I'm pretty sure I did know what it looked like before we met again. Like before we
we
met.
did. I mean, it's hard. Like I said, Edgar is he stays in the know on TikTok, on Twitter, on those anime sphere. Yeah, for you guys, so that we can have the news and talk about it. For those of you new viewers who only watched us for the reactions, on the Manga Monday show, we talk about the news. So we do have to stay well versed on this stuff.
And for those of you like just stay off the internet, I mean, it's different when you have an Avengers movie coming up, and then there's spoilers flying around,
and then it comes out the next week.
Yeah, that's different. One Piece is always going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So
last week, I stayed off of online to not get spoiled for the new Zelda game because leaks were going about.
Yeah, it's different staying away from spoilers of a weekly chapter. You can't stay away from spoilers from 8 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible because people just think it's a free reign. Like for me right now, there are some parts. Anytime I'm scrolling and I see Death Note, I just go, nope. Yeah,
I can't blame you if you get spoiled on that.
Because I'm reacting to Death Note right now.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That is super hard. I'd be impressed if you miss spoilers that have been jokes now.
I know one big thing, but that's it.
Yeah, there are jokes that are just thrown about certain fan bases because everybody's watched it.
If you haven't, you're a loser. So I'm
but
a loser.
I guess with One Piece, it's kind of that, but it's also like it's just that long that you're gonna run into it. And
so let's stop talking about spoilers.
Yeah, I'm sorry
because we went on a little bit of a rant. But
Kuma is here to see Moria. I forget what exactly.
No, isn't he there to kill Luffy?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But he's like this guy's becoming too much of a threat. He took down a warlord. Now he needs to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Right.
What happens to Moria at the end of this? By the way, does he die?
No, he escapes. He escapes on like a small little boat with Perona.
Yeah.
Right, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, he escapes with Hogback. Perona goes her own way.
Yeah.
Right.
Does he stay a warlord after this? No, right? Or does he?
I think he does.
Because eventually, because all this was so Geiko Moria could be the top, could take over, could basically be the obviously being king of the pirates and top and be the strongest warlord, and basically he wanted to defeat all of them, right? He wanted to take. Yeah. He was tired
because if he took all of their shadows and put them in him, he would have been immensely strong.
Yeah, he wanted to beat them. Basically, he wanted to defeat them. He wasn't essentially helping them. I don't know what the other warlords feel about each other.
Same thing with Crocodile. Crocodile was working on his own volition, even though he was a warlord.
I feel like Mihawk is like, all right, I'm here. I'm gonna.
Mihawk's good. Mihawk's just chilling. You know? But so Kuma comes to eliminate Luffy. And basically, everybody stands in his way. He makes everybody else pass out as well. Yeah. And the only person who is left is Zoro. And
he lays down a challenge for him, right?
Yeah.
What was the challenge?
He says, if I take all the pain that your captain suffered and put it in this energy, will you be able to survive it? And if you survive it, I won't kill your captain. And so he takes a small bit of his energy, gives it into Zoro, and it puts him in shock, basically. And he was like, oh, you like that? Well, here's all of the pain that he felt during that fight. Yeah. And Zoro.
And he asked him to move. He asked him to let's do this somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah, he does. Because he doesn't want anybody to see.
By the way, I was spoiled on this.
Oh, you were spoiled that nothing happened?
Yeah, nothing happened, and that Kuma does this to Zoro and what exactly, absorbing the pain. But I didn't know that it would happen in Thriller Bark, which was really surprising. So seeing Kuma here was a surprise. I did not expect him to show up here. But once he showed up and I saw what the situation was that Luffy was passed out, I'm like, oh, this is coming up. I know this would happen.
Yeah. awesome panel, right? After
Yeah.
Sanji wakes up and he's like, oh no, he's gonna die, which is good because Sanji's like actually genuinely caring here
Yeah,
for
he's
Zoro,
worried about him.
And he shows up.
What's
and we
all this
get an
blood?
yeah.
Like, are you alive? Where'd you go? Like,
Yeah,
nothing at
and
all.
they think like
bam,
yeah,
like-
and he's like standing there with like the blood all over him, and he's like, what happened? And he's like, nothing happened. Like, and of course, everybody in the One Piece fandom goes like, just like how the One Piece fandom goes. What are you talking about? That's Sniper King. That's not Usopp. They also go, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like they go, which I think is very endearing from the One Piece fandom that they all go very gung ho for that.
I wonder what happened the second after that panel. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He just probably collapsed on the
He's
floor.
like, all right, yeah, because he is passed out in the next chapter we see
Yeah.
him in. Because during the feast, Zoro's chapped out, and Luffy's like, "What's wrong with Zoro? Like, Zoro, wake up!"
Oh, yeah, I feel really good all of a sudden.
yeah.
I would like Luffy's all like better.
Luffy's like, "This is fantastic,"
Yeah.
and Luffy's having a great time.
Yeah.
And we get what I think is the best part of the arc is where we now
Brooks' backstory.
Brooks' backstory, and he's playing the piano, and Luffy's like,
Hey, I know this song.
Luffy's like, oh, that's what Shanks did. That's the song that Shanks sung with us.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, like this is the good song. And then he goes through his backstory. Earlier in the arc, we didn't touch on this. Brooke told
Frankie and
Robin his backstory.
Yeah.
And they were all like crying about it. And deservedly so. I was like, well, Oda, if you're having your characters cry, you gotta make me cry. And he did it. I love this backstory. I think it's my favorite.
I was spoiled on it, by the way. I
Damn.
knew what the backstory was, and but interesting thing was, I was more tearful at I was more sad at hearing Laboon's backstory, ironically, because I didn't know what Brooks' backstory was. I wasn't spoiled on Brooks' I think I was spoiled on Drum Island around then.
Okay.
I think I was spoiled on Brooks' backstory around Drum Island.
But did you know about Laboon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I knew. Because we already knew what Laboon was after Drum Island. So
our last video for our half blind One Piece review, we're of course very behind on that. Was
I said
the
screw.
Laboon arc.
Yeah, I said screw whoever left this.
And
poor
I was
whale
like,
behind.
I was over here like, oh my.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would have.
Yeah.
So I didn't really tear up in this arc. And this backstory. So maybe if I wasn't spoiled, it would have had more of an impact on me.
Yeah.
Because
I wasn't spoiled at all. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I read this and I was like, oh my God, this is God tier storytelling.
Yeah.
And this is when
It was really
One
sad,
Piece,
though.
One Piece already hooked me, but this is when it took it deeper, right? And the next saga is when it really went top 3 mangas of all time I've ever read, and it was really like, and then it continues that from there on out.
Okay.
But this moment made me go, wow, Oda is such a good storyteller, such good build up. And what Oda does really well is he makes you go, I know how their story is going to end. And when it happens, it's still going to emotionally wreck me, even though I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We know the fate of Laboon and the fate of Brooke are tied together.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that's how that's going to end.
Yeah, it's a really it didn't move. It didn't not move me. I felt like emotionally moved, but I felt like if I wasn't spoiling it, I probably would have teared up a lot more, because it is really sad. They raised Laboon. Laboon loves the songs that Brooke sings for him, and he was like kind of unofficial a member of the what's his
The Rumbar Pirates, was that it?
something like that. I don't
Let me see.
I don't
Let me see.
remember. But Laboon was like family towards Brooke and his pirates. Brooke wasn't the captain, was he?
No.
He wasn't
not. He was second in command.
Yeah, he was second man, and
But the captain, he went off because he was sick or ill or something.
Yeah.
And he had to go back to the East Blue. So they sent him back. I think he's still alive.
Oh, okay.
I think the captain is somebody who we've seen before.
He is the One Piece.
He is the One Piece. No, I think he's still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, eventually.
The Rumbar Pirates. How did I know that? What's wrong with me? How did I know that? That's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how I got that out of there. But yeah. Awesome.
but yeah, eventually they have to part ways once they get to the get to
The Grand Line.
the Grand Line, and the whatever you call it, the big water slide,
The red.
the mountain something,
The red line.
the red line, the mountain, the
mountain.
reverse mountain.
Reverse mountain. There you go.
There you go. They have to drop them off there,
Yeah.
and
And they have to leave Laboon as well.
yeah, they have to leave Laboon. Like, yeah, we'll promise we'll come back. They don't, which is
because
really
they
sad.
get trapped in the triangle.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they do. And then
Which I guess Moria did make.
yeah, but I mean,
but
who kills them?
That's not an adverse
They're,
effect. Yeah.
they're attacked,
Yeah.
and poisoned, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And there's no cure. So once they start dying, like, let's just play one for old time's sake. And they start
Yeah.
playing that song,
Yeah.
and then each pirate starts dying one by one. He's like a trio, a duo, and now a solo.
Yeah.
And it's just.
What do you think of that chapter?
Yeah,
was
real
good,
sad.
right?
But again, I probably would have had more impact if I hadn't been spoiled on that, because
Yeah.
I did know the backstory.
But we also get at that point, it's flashing backwards and forwards.
between the song of the present and
Yeah, because he sees all the people around him laughing and having a great time, and he's remembering that, and then
yeah, this is nice. This is a nice panel right here.
very nice panel. Yeah. But yeah, so he dies. He dies. He wakes up again as a skeleton, and he's like, "Oh man." He's
Yeah,
like, "What the
I
heck?"
mean, like,
he's like, "My flesh doesn't grow back."
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
they
that's-
gave it to him. Did they just give it to him, or did he accidentally eat it? What happened?
I think he ate it beforehand.
did he-
So I think he
did
had
he-
the devil fruit for a while.
Okay,
Right.
did they give it to him, or did he just like, all right, I discovered it, or I found it, I'm eating it? Or
I don't
something?
know. I don't remember. I think he did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Brooke's backstory is revealed, and we get this awesome panel.
Yeah.
Is this, by the way, is this your favorite one?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, I guess we'll on. But this is a cool one.
That is a cool one, isn't it?
I was spoiled on though. It's the one where Luffy officially asks again to Brooke
Yeah.
to join his crew after,
And of
revealing.
course he accepts.
Yeah.
And that was like, these two chapters have been one of my favorites, I will say.
Oh, okay. Well,
you
this
know.
this did make me tear up. It's when we get a glimpse of Laboon, and like Laboon's happy for some
And
reason.
Crocus says, "Hey, why are
Hey,
you so
you're-
happy, Laboon?
Yeah.
Why are you happy today?"
Okay, that made me
Yeah.
tear up. Like
That was
That
good.
got me.
That was good,
I guess
yeah.
it's just Laboon that makes me sad, and not Brooke.
Laboon is nice. Laboon
Mm.
is good.
It's
yeah.
nice thinking of how they're going to, reunite
Yeah.
at some day, which is really nice to think about.
Oh yeah.
It's a really good ending.
Yeah.
And while we
Go ahead.
No, I said while we did touch up on this, as Gecko Moria is being shipped away with the remaining of his crew, Absalon is reading some newspaper. Let me see what it says.
It's about Ace, right?
Yeah. Just before I heard something from 3 zombies who served Moria, Neon and Bao. According to them, Kuma came here to relay who could replace Crocodile as one of the 7 warlords of the sea. That's not important. Some successor named Blackbeard. This guy's done some nasty
Dang.
stuff. Commander of the 2nd Division of Whitebeard Pirates for Fire Fist Ace, currently awaiting execution
Yeah.
in the great prison of Impel Down.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and-
baby, we're getting there.
yeah.
Ooh, baby.
And after Brooke's backstory, what's her face, the ugly lady, gives Nami the
Charlotte
piece
Lindman,
of
yeah.
paper, and that's when Luffy realizes that Ace's paper is starting to sizzle and like burn away.
Yeah.
And that's like good setup right there. Like that's some,
Ooh, baby.
yeah, that's really cool.
That is some good setup to like my favorite arc too, dude. It's
Yeah.
so exciting.
Um,
Very exciting. What an ending, right?
Yeah.
What an ending to this. One of the best ending of an arc in One Piece.
just because of the
It just sucks that it was so mediocre getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mediocre in the sense of One Piece, obviously.
no mediocre
Yeah.
in general for
No,
me.
I'm-
No, just kidding.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Edgar. Let's talk about what panel inspired me to do manga, to write
Did
comics.
okay, can I guess?
Yeah. Guess a couple.
Okay.
I'll put them on the screen for the YouTube video for those of you listening. We'll describe it and we'll talk about it as well. But for the podcast, I'll put it.
Is
on
it
up.
in this end of is it in the
Yes,
end of the
I will say it's the final 5 to 10 chapters.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. Final 5 to 10?
Because I want you to guess a little bit. Let's just say the final 5.
Is it this one? Is it the one where Luffy asked
No.
Brooks to...
It's not
Is
that
it
one.
before that?
Yes.
Okay. Is it the Nothing Happened?
No.
Is it before that?
No.
It's after that then.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, is it a solo? Is it this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is this one. Thank God. Yeah. What? It's a really moving panel, and it's really sad. But and it's a really good panel. But what particular does it define?
So I will say the build up to it is very good
Yeah.
with the flashing back. That's why I didn't want to talk about it too much because you were like, that's a good panel, right? And I went, yeah. So we'll talk about it here. It flashes back and forth so well, and them singing together, Brooke crying and going, like you said, a trio, a duet, and then it feels like the anime does not capture this well enough. Is like
Obviously, it has the song,
when
which the song is really good.
Which when I relay it in my mind, right? There was something when I was like reading it, I was like listening to lo-fi, and like the song just ended, and lo-fi just ended, and it went like a duo or a duet, and then it went completely silent, and that's how I am. And in the anime, it's not completely silent. They have like wind, but it's completely silent, and he goes a solo, and like. Just looking at it out of context, like if you zoom in on that one panel, a solo, where this man is playing a piano, he says it's just a solo. All of his comrades are completely dead, bloodied on the floor, completely gone. I think for me, tells so much of a story. Like that one panel, oh dude, I'm tearing up thinking about it. Like that one panel tells you everything you need to know about that chapter. You can look at that a solo, like, and just think about that and go like, that was the chapter. And that one panel is good enough to justify Brooke as a character for me, justify the arc as a whole for me. And it's just so good.
Yeah.
You know, like put it up again. Let me dissect it a little bit more. Is that like even in here, like you can see so much depth in between with the wind whistling in the background, with the notes playing over there, and I just love the small little change that this is from the Viz Media, obviously. And so you can tell he's like smiling, and he goes a trio, and you can tell in this, like you can tell like even when it gets a little bit smaller, his like words gets a little bit smaller, and it's a duet, and he's doing that because he's croaking up a little bit because he's getting sad. And then a solo is just nice and bold, a solo. And it's just, I almost dropped an F-bomb. It's just so good. I show that to anybody who says, why do you like manga and anime? Why do you want to become a voice actor? Why do you want to draw comics and the style of manga and anime? And it's for stuff like that. It's for things like that. I was talking to Edgar. We just saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and the flashbacks in there, to me, felt very anime-esque.
Yeah.
So I was like, flashbacks in anime. And this is the reason why flashbacks in One Piece is so celebrated. When people are like, oh yeah, it's a flashback, baby. Because it gives you moments like this.
That's like the opposite from My Hero for me. Because I'm like, oh, a flashback. One Piece flashback. Let's go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly. It's like, thank God.
Backstory time.
Like, yeah, and the fact that he was able... I also obviously attune it to Oda and his ability to tell this backstory in about a chapter and a half and get that and, like, to me, build it up to that point of we know his pirate crew's going to die because he already said that they're all gone now, and he said that he was abandoned on this ship. It's just like, man, the build up to it is so good, and the delivery on just that one panel, a solo. Like I said, there are other panels in One Piece, specifically in Wano, that are better than this one. And I get that. There are better panels. Obviously, almost every panel in Vagabond is better than that. Right?
Yeah, I gotta say, Nami taking a bath is way better than this.
Hey, yo,
Not just kidding.
chill. Obviously, every panel in Berserk is like god tier.
Yeah, I think detail and I guess detail doesn't exactly mean quality
Yeah.
and depth and like
Yeah.
what it means to the story. So that's why I guess
Yeah.
this one is like really
But
dear to you.
but what I'm saying, as in, I think that this is the best. I think this is the best indication of Oda's storytelling, right? And his art. I think this is the best way to go. Oda's storytelling, Oda's art, weaving perfectly as one. And I think for me, this is when I'm like, this is the best panel on One Piece, and that's why I think of that.
I guess
yeah.
one of my favorite panels in Thriller Bark is like this one. It's probably a more obvious one.
That's a good one. Yeah,
it's really nice. It's when Luffy.
The Luffy one. Sorry,
It's when Luffy asked Brook to join his crew again for the last time,
Yeah.
because it just reminds you, I'm like, man, we've come such a long way.
Yeah.
For this moment, because again, like we said, it was the first thing that Luffy wanted other than a ship.
Yeah.
Which is really stupid, but
Yeah.
really endearing. And that's how you know how important, even though they don't really know each other. Again, but we do know Brook's backstory now. Everyone does. But even before then, Luffy has been searching for a musician after all this time. And now that he has one, it's like at the same time, and not because, again, because they don't really know each other.
Yeah.
Even if they know each other's backstory. It's just like, it's like you complete the crew now.
Yeah.
Even though they get more along the way.
They get one more.
They get one
so
more,
far.
and we might
But
get more.
this, you're right. This completes it.
Yeah, he's not looking for anything else anymore,
Yeah.
because like that's all he wanted was a musician.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that panel for me, at least in this arc, I don't know if it's my favorite out of all of One Piece. I don't even think I've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
I probably should now, but like, but it definitely is my favorite in this arc, in this saga, is that because of like, oh, it's all come to we like since like chapter, I don't know, 15 or 20, he's mentioned that he's wanted the musician, and now we got one. Really cool, really nice, and like tying things back up. I'm pretty sure Oda will do it again and again, and tying things to things we've seen from like the first 100 chapters, which we'll see come in the future, which is really nice. But really good. However, the arc, I gotta say,
took you a while to get through, huh?
Yeah, it took a while. Probably like a 6 out of 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but the end of the arc, like a 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Those
brilliant
good last 15, 10 chapters.
Yeah. And they built up so much, which is what you're about to see, Edgar.
Yeah,
Where are you right now?
I'm in not Fishman Island arc.
Sabaody.
Yeah, I am Sabaody, because the Fishman
Sabaody.
Island is like another. I know it's like because it's really
that's where they're trying to get even in this arc, and they don't get it until after.
Yeah,
the
so I know.
time
So
skip.
you know something happens. I mean,
Yeah,
I know what happens, but I'm interested in like what happens.
Yeah.
What
How
do
did
we
they get
there?
here?
Yeah, how did they get here? So, I'm really looking forward to that. I hope things go at a much faster pace from here on out.
They do.
They do.
They
I did say that last time, but we'll see. But I'm
when Ligma Balls happens, it's pretty nonstop and chaotic. That's why this is one of my favorite parts of the story, is because it's just chaos, and I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Really excited. Really looking forward to. Like I said, fortunately, 6 out of 10 for this arc. But I'm not dropping One Piece. Not anytime soon. Not even the worst arc in the world. Well, I don't want to say that. But not even the worst arc in One Piece could make me drop it, because I have to finish it at this point.
Yeah.
You can't read 400 chapters in something and just drop it.
Yeah.
Maybe Rent a Girlfriend fans can, but but I'm not going to.
Well, if you're 400 chapters deep into Rent a Girlfriend, you've already done something wrong.
That's what they say.
You need a whole cleansing arc of yourself to get that out. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you guys, if you enjoy One Piece and if you enjoy all this stuff to come, next is going to be the Summit War arc, what some people believe to be the peak.
You mean saga
of One Piece, the saga, of course.
The
Summit War saga, which some people believe to be the peak of One Piece. It might be so big we might have to split it into 2 episodes, but we'll get there when we get there. Once again, hit like, hit subscribe. We do have individual videos, reactions, reviews. My Hero Academia review is coming out soon, so be sure to check out all of that stuff. One Piece reviews will continue to be coming out. We are still in the Alabasta saga for that, so sorry about that. It takes me a while to edit it and make it nice and clean, but that stuff is still a lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure if we re-recorded that today, it would sound exactly the same.
Yeah,
so
that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000,000,000%. So you guys, hit like, hit subscribe. My name's Ben. Edgar, anything you want to say before we leave?
Nothing. Hopefully we have some regular Manga Monday Show
Yeah.
episodes for you Manga Monday Show listeners. But we are back with this one, so hopefully you enjoyed it. And for those who only stick around for One Piece content, here you go. You got to wait 2 more months or now.
Yeah.
No, Ben will probably have like a video up by then.
No, we'll do a video.
But we'll have more One Piece content for you.
Yeah, after he's done with the Summit War arc, a lot of One Piece content is coming your way.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to do a giant review where we're going to invite some of our friends onto the show, where we're going to talk about the whole pre-time skip. We're also going to be doing some tier lists, talking about which was our favorite arcs.
Maybe some more One Piece Jeopardy.
Maybe some more One Piece Jeopardy.
Maybe
That'd
with
be fun.
Alabasta.
Maybe with Alabasta. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But more One Piece content is definitely coming your way, along with anime news and manga news and all that for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, my name's Edgar.
My name's Ben.
You already said that.
That's all right.
The Manga Monday Slow / Shonen Junkies. Bye.
Yo ho. Yo ho ho. Yo ho ho. Yo ho ho. All right, bye.
I don't know what you're gonna.
I don't know. The rest are in Japanese.